angle law of forces. This method you can use to find the resultant for two forces. When there are two forces, coplanar concurrent forces are there. So when there is a necessity of finding resultant for those two forces, then you can use this method. To understand this method, first let us see the definition first. Triangle law of forces states that if two forces are acting as the adjacent sides of a triangle taken in order, then the closing side of the triangle represents the resultant in opposite direction. So let us see that first. I am considering two forces here. So P is one force acting away from this point like this, and Q is another force like this. Let theta be the inclination between those two. So just I want to find the resultant for these two forces. So let us consider this point as O. So here, in order to find the resultant, so I am using triangle law of forces. As per the statement, so I can arrange these two as the adjacent sides of a triangle taken in order. Now also these two are adjacent sides of a triangle, but these are not in order. So if you observe for a force, so we call it as tail. So this one we call it as head, right? So now I have to arrange these two in the form of a particular order. So from tail to head fashion. Suppose if you consider P here, I am drawing the force P here. So without changing magnitude and direction, so I have represented the force P like this. This is P, so which is acting from point O. Okay, I am considering this one as a local vector. So I am not going to change its position. Now I am going to change the position of Q from this point to this point. Just I am going to change the position only. I am not going to change the magnitude. I am not going to change the direction. So that means just I am shifting the force Q from that point to this point, and it is in the same direction, which is making an inclination of theta with horizontal. So it is of same magnitude and same direction like earlier. If you observe here, so these two forces are now represented as the adjacent sides of a triangle taken in order. So if you observe here, so P is in this direction and Q is in this direction, from tail to head fashion, from tail to head fashion. So both are in a particular order. So then the closing side of the triangle. So if you observe here, so this is the closing side of the triangle. So that is going to be our resultant, but in the opposite direction. So in the opposite direction means actually it has to be closed in this direction. So opposite direction means it will be the direction. So it is a resultant for us. Once again, when we see the statement, if two forces are considered as the adjacent sides of a triangle, how they are? So they are taken in an order, then the closing side of the triangle represents the resultant. So in order to give an analytical relation, we use the sine rule here. So let us consider the angle between these two as alpha, and the angle between these two as beta, and the angle between these two as gamma. Let us consider like that. So when we use sine rule, so this is in the form of a triangle, right? So every side is proportional to sine of the angle between other two sides, right? So that means suppose if you consider this one as A, OA, B, C, sorry, this is O, intersection of these two is O. So this point is A, this point is B. So now if you observe here, OA is directly proportional to sine of alpha, and AB is directly proportional to sine beta, and this OB is directly proportional to sine gamma. Okay, every side is proportional to sine of the angle between other forces. So OA is nothing but P here. So that means P is directly proportional to sine alpha. So close P, if you close P, so only there are two sides. So this side, and the angle between those two sides is alpha, right? That means P is directly proportional to sine alpha. And if you observe Q here, so close Q, there are two sides, and the angle between those two sides is nothing but beta, right? So that means Q is directly proportional to sine beta. And similarly close R, so there are two forces P and Q, the angle between those two is gamma. So that means R is directly proportional to sine gamma. So replace the proportionality with a constant. Let us say it is K. So from that P is equal to K sine alpha. From that P by sine alpha is equal to the constant K. So here also the same thing. Q is equal to K sine beta, where K is a constant. From that, Q by sine beta is equal to the constant K. Similarly, R is equal to K sine gamma. From that, R by sine gamma is equal to K. So from these three relations, I can finally give one relation, which is nothing but P by sine alpha is equal to Q by sine beta is equal to R by sine gamma. So this is the relation for triangle law of forces, and this relation came from Sine rule. Right? Thank you for watching. Hope you are able to understand. If you are able to understand, just click on the like button, and thank you for watching. Do subscribe my channel.